Sana, you know, for me, this is my first time ever living with the family apart. We're both older women. You're not going to change. I'm also not going to change too. Moved back to our apartment where we were happy. We were free to do anything, and
you see, this is the issue that I have with Jenny here. Has Jenny ever had a plan in life? Because you got to think, right, at the age that she's at in her life, really and truly, for her to come in and say, listen, me and Sumit going to move out. This is the better question. Why are you and Sumit even living with Sumit's parents in the first place? I mean, listen, let's take away culture, religion, the whole shebang. Because we know that Jenny, when she came there, she literally turned things upside down on Sumit's life in terms of him wanting to live the traditional life he would live, you know, usually if he was to marry somebody that was from his own culture. But of course, that wasn't the case. Jenny's obviously an American who does not want to live underneath the roof of his parents, respectfully. And it does make a lot of sense. Why would she, right? And these two went off and got married behind Sumit's parents' back. Went off and obviously started living together, okay, without Sumit's parents. But then obviously things didn't work out financially. So they ended up, unfortunately, in Sumit's parents' house. But you got to think to yourself, at the age she's at in her life, how did you even get to this point? You know, it's one thing to have this energy, this confidence, this arrogance to walk in and say, listen, we can't live here no more because you and I, being around the same age, technically I'm older than you, we can't live in the same house. We cannot coexist because I don't take orders and you like to give orders. And you don't want to take orders neither because you like to be the one that gives them. So this isn't going to work for me. But see, but all of that is the smaller picture. The bigger picture is, but Jenny, how have you got yourself in this position at this stage in your life? How did you not move there, already have money to be able to buy a property, you know, enough to retire? In fact, why did you even choose to be with a man that can't even provide a life for you that you actually require and need at this stage in your life? So it makes me really wonder, what choices Jenny really made in her whole entire life? Has Jenny actually ever been a mature person? Has she ever been somebody that can literally make decisions that make sense? You know what they say sometimes, right? Sometimes you got to look at somebody's child and it tells you everything about that person. Sometimes you got to look at the child's parent and it tells everything about that child. So if you don't understand what I'm saying is, let's just look at Jenny's own relationship from that aspect. But let's continue.
And he will say this.
I'm too old for this. I can't be told what I can't do.
You are not going to leave, you have to live with us. Yes.
But you can't.
You know, there are so many situations, so many scenarios where uttering the phrase, I'm too old for this, makes a lot of sense. But then there are some situations, some contexts when it comes to uttering the words, I'm too old for this, is actually a very immature move. A very weak move. A very, I'm trying to gain power in the situation type move. This is one of those situations where she's uttering those because she's trying to gain power. That's why I would call it more of a mature one rather than an actual way. Like, let's look at it this way. Let's say you go outside for the first time in a while, you know what I mean? You go for a run, your knees are locking in, your thighs are burning, you know, you're struggling, you're limping, and you're like, damn, I'm too old for this. It kind of makes sense a little bit. But to be fair, in those situations, sometimes it's nicely because you're too old for that. It just exposes how you lack mobility because you've been lazy for a hot minute. You haven't run in a while, you know what I mean? But if you keep active, those things technically wouldn't happen. But those situations, you can say that because it's a little bit funny, you know what I mean? But in these situations here, she's like, well, I'm too old to be living in this house with my husband's parents and taking orders from my husband's parents. It's a power move and it's an immature move because it goes back to what I was saying in the very beginning. How are you in this position? How are you in this position at your age to be living underneath someone else's roof? Now, don't get me wrong. Depending on the way you live in this world, sometimes you may not have a choice because things are getting hella expensive. It may just be the way. Sometimes it's just applicable. It makes sense. But this is a woman that lived in America for the majority of her life, and you're telling me that all of her life savings have literally gone kaput since she's been to India? A place where her money should go a slightly longer way? But like I said before, it's more of the choice of that she's moved there with basically not enough retirement money, and then also decided to move there and live with a guy that can't provide for her. Why did you even pick a guy who couldn't provide for her? The life choices people make. But let's not get it twisted though. It is rumored that Jenny and Sumit are supposed to be a part of The Last Resort. So I do wonder if some of their stories are a bit, just to be on the show. But let's continue.
You can't order me though.
Yeah, you have to
I
live
can
with
do what I
us.
want.
After some time, everything will be all right. To stay with us.
I can't do this. I can't deal with this. I'm not going to let her boss me around. Be happy when I tell him about this. But
Imagine telling someone that you're moving out and they say, no, you're not allowed. And that person's younger than you.
he needs to understand that I'm serious about it. I already had a talk with your parents about it too.
Huh? What did you say?
I said we're moving out. We get another one of our own apartment. I told your mom, I told your dad.
I'll move out of there. We are depending on them right now. They are the ones who's paying rent right now.
Let that sink in, folks. Let that information sink in. At both of their ages, they are dependent on Sumit's parents paying for rent for them to stay in his parents' home. It's crazy because Sumit did say he's kind of like the black sheep in the family. He's the one that's always been the letdown, the one that's always da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, maybe Sumit needs to go back to the internet and needs to go back to catfishing women. Maybe that was the only time in his life he actually earned some real good money. Because since then, damn, this guy had a restaurant, didn't work out with his friend. Now they got a cafe, which, from my understanding, isn't even open anymore. Failed business after failed business after failed business. Do you know what's crazy though? Like, listen, a lot of people have had assumptions that Jenny is a alcoholic. So a lot of people have had that assumption. And let's say she is. Is that why maybe even when they get paid from the show, they still end up being broke enough to have to live with his parents rather than live on their own? There is that part. But then again, to be fair, because they live in India, even though they're on the show, Jenny's the only one that would actually be... Jenny's the only one that would get paid as the American. But obviously she does get paid for both of their cuts from what I remember. But if they both will live in America, I think their cut will be bigger. I don't know. It differs. But anyway, we continue. All I know is that money management clearly isn't something that these two are good at. Listen, they're just not a match. How they've gone this far is just weird to me. They need to break up. I'm just saying as it is because, boy, Jenny cannot be in this position at her age. And Sumit, I don't know about that guy. I feel like maybe he's just a lost cause. I just don't know about him. Oh, God.
Their house. They are an important part of
But
our...
I can't live there. I can't. I've lived with the family since I'm 18 years old. I can't be told you can't drink that. You can't eat meat.
I understand that.
That's thinking she has not lived in her parents' home since she's 18 years old. Fast forward, and now you're back living in someone else's house. No, this is not good. You're embarrassing yourself.
I feel like I'm a kid again. I'm going back in time, and I can't sit down and watch TV in my underwear if I want to. What? I don't have my freedom anymore. My freedom is gone. There's no more happiness left for me. You can kiss my...
I'm gonna lie to you, man. Like, I could not imagine what it'd be like to live underneath someone else's roof when you've had freedom for so long. Whew, boy. Damn, imagine that. Hey, mum, dad, I'm coming back after I've had my freedom for so many years. Whew. Yeah, that would hurt. I don't know if I could do that myself, to be honest. Could you do that? Yeah.
I asked if he wants to live there, he can stay there without me. I'm gonna leave. Told your parents we're moving out, and if you don't want to go with me, I guess I'll have to move out by myself, right? Because I'm not staying there. My life damn sucks. Don't you think our life sucks now? Answer me. I'm waiting for your answer.
No, it doesn't.
It does. I can't.
I love the way. Don't you think it sucks? He's like, no, it doesn't suck. Jenny going on one of her famous rants. It's as if she's auditioning for an Oscar or something. Let's continue.
Take it anymore. You understand? I'm not gonna live in this bedroom the rest of my life. I'm not happy there. I'm leaving. My life sucks. I'm done.
I mean, to be fair, imagine being at that stage of her life and you're living in a bedroom. Oh man, this is crazy. Because like I said, listen, sometimes some circumstances do put people in these positions. And that is something that is simply just unavoidable for whatever reasons it could be. But that's not the situation with these two. This is a situation due to just poor choices in life. Honestly, like I said before, the biggest issue I would say here is the fact that she decided to be with a man who has no stability in his life in any shape or form. That is not a good thing at all. Yeah. Well, with that being said, let's just see I get crack-a-lacking and move on to the next couple. Hoo-wee! Yeah, this one's an interesting one. Manon and Anthony. Oh dear, the calamity. Let it begin.
Oh my lord. Even except chocolate. There's no pharmacy. There's no bakery. My own hair. I think I need to pause for a moment. Did you see?
So Minion's having a breakdown. Her anxieties hit the roof. Why? Because she realized that where she moved to, there is barely any food for her liking. That there's barely any restaurants. There's barely any food that can, you can choose from certain pickings. There is no pharmacy. There isn't really a hairdresser around for her to get her hair done. It basically just doesn't have the things that a city life would have. And now she's having a meltdown. You know what's interesting? Before I decide to move into a home, before I decide to move to a certain location, you know what I do, right? I will look to see, 1, how close is the nearest gym? 2, how close is the nearest supermarket? Okay. 3, all right, how close is other things that I need to have around me that I don't want to be too far away from me. But the key things for me is the gym and the supermarket. I need to know where they are. That is shadow of a doubt. Oh yeah, and how close is the airport? That's another very key thing too. And then that will determine whether or not I'm going to even search in that area. So you're telling me this woman flew all the way from LA, moved all the way to Marseille, a city location where she has all the accessories that she needs. But because she did not want to live with her parents and she was that desperate, that eager to leave, she was like, let's use the savings that we have. Let's spunk the savings that we have to find a home. They found a home without no research of where it's at, what was around it. And now she's moved there. Now she's like, oh my God, I'm having an anxiety attack. What am I going to do? This is what happens when you make choices without doing your research properly. You have shot yourself in the foot. You have done this to yourself. Wow, and she likes to act as if she's the intelligent one in the relationship, which, to be fair, maybe she is. But this right here is exposing that, yeah.
She's stuck right now.
Reality is just slapping me in the face, like, this is your life now, hello? But when you have a child, you cannot let yourself just have a little moment.
Why are you lying? Why are you being a hypocrite? But when you have a child, you can't give yourself a moment to show a sign of weakness, huh? But you was just doing that. Literally, she was like, oh man, there's no this, there's no that. You was literally having a whole breakdown in front of your child. And then you sit there and say that as a parent, this is not what you should be doing. But you just did that. But boy, it only gets worse.
Of weakness.
When I took the job, I was told I'd have to be away maybe like once a month. I'm working with kids, leading them in activities and down the Ardèche River.
A job for a dad. I think there's a lot of like people coming from everywhere in France just for the season who are single, a bunch of young
But
kids.
The way she's like, it's not a job for a dad. He finally gets a job. You hear about the job. You're like, okay, he's got a job. But then you find out that this job requires him disappearing a few times a month or whatever. And because it means that you are going to be a single mom at home all by yourself, this job that he's now got isn't a job for dad anymore. It was a job for dad to begin with, but now it's not a job for dad purely because it means that you are going to be left alone with your own son. The son that you carried for 9 months. It means that sometimes you're going to be left with just your son and just you and him just to look after him. But now all of a sudden, because you don't want that responsibility as an individual by yourself, now his job is not good enough for a dad? Wow. Like I said, it only gets worse.
It's a job. You don't
Well, the family. Go find another better job.
Military's not a job for dad. People do that. Police officer's not a job for dad. People do that.
Great. Just great. Going to Marseille. I'm gonna go to my parents.
All because she doesn't want to be left in this low. Do you know what? It's not. At first, I was like, well, all of this is because they don't have all of these things that you need. But in reality, the thing that pushed her over the edge was the fact that this job he has means that she's going to be left alone with her son in this abandoned location. And she's too afraid to be there with her son at night all by herself. Those days, those months or whatever that he's not here.
Like
Home from work to an empty house. Like, come on.
in Marseille, I can go to restaurants and go to grocery stores.
Kind of just leaving me here and then I come home just empty.
Yeah, well, you want me to suffer every day?
All about herself. So you want me to suffer every day. I'm sorry, but it was your plan. It was your idea. It was you that found this place. You wanted to move to this place. And now you want to say you're going to suffer? Well, it's not Anthony's fault if you're going to suffer. It's one person's fault.
You're telling me I'm gonna be a solo parent at night in that environment by myself once a week? No.
That's getting money to pay our bills.
Yeah, but not enough.
But I guess with you, it's never enough, so.
Another job. I'm not doing this for 4 months.
Ladies and gentlemen, God forbid that Manon has to be a single parent. God forbid that she's got to do all on her own in this house. Oh my gosh, the world is dying. Everything is going kaput. Oh, damn. Oh, the woman that is never, ever, ever satisfied has found another reason to strike again and to make more complaints. Are we surprised? Absolutely not. Oh, I know I'm not anyway, at least. But you know what, though? Anthony, you chose your wife. So, yeah, you just continue enjoying your wife. Because, boy, yeah, nah. I will not be tolerating this behavior. Are you mad? Are you insane? Are you crazy? Hell to the no. He needs to find a way to calm her the F down because she's doing too much. Way too much. Unacceptable. With that being said, though, let's move on to the next one. The gaslighter. The man of many excuses. The man that doesn't want to take accountability for his actions. Oh, let's get into good old Johnny boy.
Just being a guy, so I was bored and I didn't ask for a woman for her news. And, I just thought, oh, wow, it's a girl that keeps messaging me. Let me just ask her for some news,
As a guy, I didn't realize that when I was bored, I was going to go out my way to ask a woman for nudes. I had no idea that's something that men do. I'm just a guy. Don't generalize us. Not all of us have this thing you got going in your mind. When I'm bored, if a woman's messaging me, even if I'm in a relationship, I'm going to just, ask another woman for nudes. What the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? What immaturity. Immaturity. What patheticness. He's trying to justify it by saying all I did was ask for nudes and Chloe overreacted? Okay, buddy.
Here or gotta hook up. No, it wasn't like that. It was more like, all right, I'm just going to entertain this for a second or two, and yeah, she saw all that, and I just have to be a man about it and just her. She wants to forgive me.
I just have to be a man about it.
I move forward to it. Like when I see Chloe, I'm asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking to be justified or anything like that. I'm being guilty here.
But yet you're justifying yourself right now. You are justifying yourself right now. So basically, when Chloe comes, you're just going to gaslight the hell out of her, basically. That's what you're saying. That's exactly what you're saying.
But look, ever since me and Chloe committed, I didn't hook up with anybody. And I feel like she's just using everything that she can to paint a horrible picture of me to her friends and to make it seem like I'm a very, very, very bad person.
Chloe's doing everything she can in her power to paint you to be a very, very bad person to her friends and to her family. Nobody, you did that all yourself. She doesn't have to do anything to paint you as a bad person when you do it to yourself. You're the one that decides to take a woman to Florida or whatever the hell you did. You're the one that decides to sit there and to do what? To request nudes from another woman. Women probably. And he wants to say that all she wants to do is use this to paint a bad picture about him. You know, you do realize somebody can't paint a bad picture of you without you doing things for them to paint a bad picture of you with. You see what I'm saying? Unless somebody's completely unhinged and they just make up things about you, then that's a different conversation. But this isn't a conversation where she's making up things about you. This is a conversation about you doing things and her just telling the truth to her peoples, and then they can have an opinion on you. And also on top of that, some of the opinions that Chloe's friends has on him isn't even because of what Chloe said. It's what the friends have seen, what they have witnessed, what they have noticed from you and your own actions. This guy really is full of it. Wow. Scumbag United.
Villain and all that. And I feel like that's a bit unfair. The phone, bunch of news, a bunch of videos of me hooking up with other girls, and this was all before we committed to each other. And she already knew about these things. Like,
that is so messed up. This guy literally just sat there, ladies and gentlemen, told every single one of us that he has got a private folder on his phone that has all of his nudes and then some. And Chloe already knew all about it. So what's the big deal with me asking for one whilst I still have someone? So what's the big deal with me asking for more nudes whilst I'm in a relationship with Chloe? I question if she knew it personally. I think that's a bunch of BS. If she did know it and she continued to be with this guy, that's crazy. This guy's worse than Sarpa's story. Sarpa's story was he had a whole book of him, and he had a whole closet of like different wines or whatever. This guy's got all videos and everything and images and everything.
she thought, like, I'm a guy, bro. Like, damn, I got to see this. You know what I mean? You know what? I will do.
Stop saying you're a guy. Don't generalize us. I do not have a private folder of nudes, a private folder of anything that shouldn't be on my phone, of other people's. No, what's wrong with you? I'm a guy. Just say that's what you do.
Delete it, we can get to a point like, hey, we can delete it, no problem. But like, dude, it's like a potential flirtatious, whatever thing. But at this point, like, okay, enough name calling, enough like trying to mention things like of my mom, like just.
Before we get into that, let's just let this sink in, folks. He's saying that he would eventually delete the folder at some point once him and Chloe got into like a. Hold on a minute, but aren't you two actually in a relationship right now? Shouldn't you have deleted this the moment you decided to make her your girl? The moment you decided to allow her to move into your place and ask her to move from Boston to Aruba? So that means this stuff should have been deleted ages ago. What was you waiting for? Marriage? Honestly, this is the kind of guy that all women should stay away from. Pure gaslight, pure toxic, pure narcissist. Everything he'll say will always flip it to make you feel like you're the bad person and he's the one that's in the right. This guy's a clown. And you try and laugh things off. Oh my goodness, he is just disgusting. I can't stand men like him. Men like him make me feel sick. Disgusting. Ah.
Your mom will be so like disappointed in you. You're like, damn, like, man, like, my mom's dead, dude.
Yeah, but where is the lie, though? But where is your lie, though? If your mum find out this is what you're doing with your life, this is how you're treating women, do you think she'd be happy with you? Where is the lie? Whether the comment was necessary or not, where is the lie in that statement? Your mum would be disappointed in you. So I'll back up that statement right now. She'd be like, I didn't raise my son to be like this, to mistreat women, unless, of course, your mum wasn't a good person. That's a different conversation. But I mean, listen, unless your mum was like P. Diddy's mum, well then, different conversation, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, either way, that's a very strong point. But anyway, we continue. But you see what he's doing now, though? Now he's flipping and now he's going for the sympathy. Now he wants people to feel sorry for him because she said this thing about him and the fact that he now doesn't have a parent. And also he elaborates by saying that I'm alone in this world. You're using your own mother as a form of sympathy for your own actions.
I'm alone, dude. But you know what, dude? It's like in the back of your head, like, damn, bro, like, there's certain things you don't say no matter how man you are, you know what I mean? Fake, you know, and everybody does mistakes. And I'm just very disappointed on the reaction of it.
So his actions of asking for nudes was a mistake. That's a lie, because you've done it your whole life, clearly. And you're saying that she went too far with what she said. Right, okay, cool. Personally, listen, I'm built different. For me personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with anything that she said. You know, to be honest with you, she just made a very good point. Like, listen, if your mum was here right now, she wouldn't be happy with your behavior. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Whether or not you want to accept that is entirely up to you. If you want to take offense to it, that's entirely up to you. But I'm telling you what I'm telling you. Your behavior is disgusting. It's just grotesque, and this is it. So to be fair, Chloe was right. But that's just my opinion. You know, other people may have a different opinion, but the matter of the fact is, when it comes to Johnny Boy over here, well, yeah, the guy's just full of shite. Well. Definitely want to know what your thoughts are. But as far as I'm concerned, this is the kind of guy that women wanna go for, because he's a bad boy. But he's the same bad boy that puts you in a position where you start to say that all men ain't shit. Red flag. Deal breaker alert with this dude right here. Disgusting. Nothing but excuses, no accountability, nothing but blame, nothing but justification, nothing but trying to spin the narrative so he looks like he's not that bad and the other person's worse than him. Let's not forget, folks. Let's not forget. This man is 32 years of age and he was literally dating a woman that was 23 years of age. Immaturity we expect from Chloe. Immaturity from a 32-year-old man, unfortunately in today's society, even most men in their 30s are immature, unfortunately. I am in my 30s, but I'm not immature. But there's a lot out there they are, which is unfortunate. But you'd think, if anything, out of the two of them, we should be hearing more immaturity out of her mouth than his. But he's a narcissist. So what do we expect? Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.